I'm disappointed. So disappointed that I just need to make this video and just get it all out, because honestly, I am a lifelong FNAF fan, and this movie was so damn disappointing, and I'm just gonna blurt it all out. So if you were expecting a Dead by Daylight video, I am so sorry. The next video will be a DBD TikTok brain rot video. But for this video today, I just wanted to get all my opinions and thoughts out there, because genuinely this movie bothers me. And it's because I'm such a huge FNAF fan, and I cannot just let it slide, because I've seen so many people say, even in my Discord, say that they love it and it's for the fans, and you're entitled to your opinions. And I don't want to shit on you guys, especially the people in my Discord that say they love this movie, because if you did love this movie, that is great, and I am very happy to hear that, genuinely. But for me, it was not that at all. So much so that I just got home from work and I've been just stewing, watching reviews and just thinking about like what I could say in this, because I knew I wanted to just get it all out there. And this is going to be a long yap session. The only thing I have written down that there's a reason I'm going to be looking over here is I wrote the movie in order that I remember. So I'm just going to go through the whole movie as I remember it, and we're just going to discuss everything, or as much as I can, about this movie, what I thought was good, what I thought was bad, different opinions, and what I could possibly do better, in my opinion. And note, this is all my opinion. This is coming, again, from a FNAF fan. I have been a fan since the first one, right as the first one came out. I bought it. I loved it. I watched all the YouTubers, Markiplier, all that shit, Corey Kenshin, you name it. So I'm a huge fan. It started with FNAF 1. It ended pretty much with Security Breach. I hated that game, but I grew up with these games, and they are a huge part of my life. So I just really feel like I need to just rant about it and just blurt it all out. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I want to warn you guys that there are heavy spoilers. So if you have not seen this movie yet, please go ahead and form your own opinion and come back and watch this, because I don't want to sway you in a different way if you're excited about this film. And if you like this film, again, I think that's amazing, but I unfortunately did it. So yeah, we're just going to get right into my thoughts on the movie, and we're going to start at the very beginning of the movie and talk about that. But before I do that real quick, I just want to mention, again, I'll probably say this over and over again, and it might get annoying, but I want you guys to know that I actually love and adore the FNAF franchise. It's one of my all-time favorite franchises. It's crazy how much I love FNAF. It's up there with Alien, and that says a lot if you know me. And the reason why I'm mentioning that again is I feel like I would be more inclined to defend this movie and glaze it because it's FNAF, because I've seen that a lot, especially on TikTok. Again, TikTok is brain rot. If you've been on my channel, you especially know that when it comes to DVD. But I couldn't do it for this one. I genuinely liked the first movie a lot. I know it's very mixed. A lot of people hated it and a lot of people loved it. I'm kind of in the I liked it. I didn't love it, but it was great. It was a great adaptation, and I'm always open to new things, and I'm happy they did add new things to the first movie. But when it comes to this one, as we will discuss, they went too off the rails and didn't really go into depth, or they'll go too in depth with shit that doesn't matter. So we're going to start off with the very beginning, the intro. Again, spoiler warning, but the movie starts off with the introduction to Charlotte, and Charlotte is pretty much the main character of this film. She keeps the plot going because she dies by the hands of William Afton, shocker, at the original location of the Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. So this is the OG location before, the Fazbear location in the first movie. So she dies, and it's a really cool scene in my opinion, where she's sitting in front of a trap door where the marionette comes out. And if you know anything about FNAF, you know the marionette comes out of a music box. So it's this contraption where the marionette gets lifted up onto stage from like a trap door, and it lifts up. So I thought that was really cool. Again, new ideas like the moat. I mean, I'll probably say this a lot, but this movie is gorgeous. The set design is gorgeous. It looks just like from the games. I mean, the animatronics are fucking incredible. They look amazing. Ripped straight out of the games. You just take the games and you make them take the animatronics out of the games and you take them into real life, and this is exactly what they would look like, and they look so fucking good. And I guess that's why it pains me so much, because they look really good. So yeah, they added new things. Like in this location there is a river moat within the pizza complex, which is a little like what the fuck, but at the same time I love it. It's cool because of the potential that moat has for scares and stuff like that, because you go through a little bridge, or yeah, you go under a little bridge, and there's a bunch of little marionettes, and it's like, hell yeah, that looks cool, because that has a really cool potential to do scary shit, and we'll get into that. Yeah, so the intro has Charlotte, who ends up being marionette, and she's sitting there, and she sees a little boy get captured and drugged by William Afton. So she tries to tell different adults. I think there are like 3 sets of adults. She tries to tell like, hey, there's fucked up shit going on. I guess this was a warning, but you will see in this movie, in my opinion, I mean, I don't know if it's an opinion at this point. It's pretty much fact that a lot of these characters in this movie just talk past each other, and they're just like written by someone who I guess just, I mean, it's Scott Cawthon, right? But I feel like it's agreed upon from even FNAF fans that he's not a great writer. So when she goes up to the adults saying, hey, there's a fucking kid getting murdered, about to get murdered by this rabbit I saw, every single one of them goes, leave me alone. Go away. Go find your parents. Go have fun. Do this. Do that. Like, you know how in a video game, the best I could describe their acting is, you know, in video games where you find different NPCs and they only have one line of dialogue. When you go up to them, you press A and they're like, man, scram. And then you leave and then you come back and they're like, man, scram. Or the only other line that they have is, quit bothering me. That's literally what these parents do when she's trying to tell them that this kid is about to get murdered, which was kind of weird, but I was like, hey, whatever. If it keeps it going, you know what, it's kind of weird. I was confused on why they were all super dismissive, but it was like, whatever. I didn't take anything to heart, especially in the beginning, because again, I was blinded by nostalgia. I was super excited for this film. So she goes and finds Springtrap, and it leads to this chase sequence where she inevitably gets stabbed in the back a few times, and she finally gets everyone's attention because no one would fucking listen to her. She finally gets their attention by screaming, because she's holding the young boy who's like passed out. He's drugged. He wasn't hurt or anything. And she collapses, and you see a bunch of red marks. Nothing too gory, because they had to make this movie PG-13. And the reason why they did that is because of money. And we will talk about that later on. But it's this really cool scene where she collapses on the platform, and she's lifted up as the marionette is lifting her up, and it's a really cool scene. And again, I absolutely fucking love the look of everything. It looks so fucking good. The best, in my opinion, which is hard because they're all amazing looking, the best animatronic is the puppet, the marionette. It looks so good. So that was a really cool scene, in my opinion, and it was just awesome. So it set us off to be really good, but then they ruin it because in the movie, they rule that killing. It's an obvious killing. She was stabbed in the back. You could see it. What did they say? They ruled it as like an incident. Like, fuck, I don't know. I forget the like term, but yeah, they said, oh yeah, it was just like just an accident. It wasn't a murder. It was an accident. It's like, what the fuck? Okay, whatever, fine. So we go back and we revisit Mike and his sister Abby, and he's on the phone talking about how, like, hey, I know we're friends, but you want to go on a date? Well, it's not a date. I, in the first movie, loved their acting. Josh Hutcherson, the person who plays Abby, and the person who plays Vanessa, they were all good in my opinion. Again, nothing special, but they were good in the first one. In this one, other than Abby, it feels like Vanessa, the people who played Vanessa and Mike just didn't give a shit, in my opinion. I don't know. It just, that's my opinion, but it felt like they just didn't have that oomph they did in the first one. But, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. So, after that, he's setting up a date, and we get introduced to his one friend that you see in this film twice. You only see him about twice. And they're talking, and they have this dialogue between him and his friend's like, oh, you can't trust Vanessa because she's got crazy eyes. And you would think that would mean something in this film because he says this, like something would happen like later on. But it's literally because it's funny. You'll notice a pattern in this movie. They say shit to either move the plot along for no reason or because the writers think it's funny. So it got a little chuckle out of people, I guess, because again, we're still under the nostalgia of let's go, FNAF 2, let's go. So it wasn't that funny at all, but like we're like, oh yeah, no, like this guy is the best friend, like, oh, she's got crazy eyes, whatever. I mean, it's kind of unprompted because like what makes her have crazy eyes? I mean, they do talk about her trauma in this film with her dad or something, but I don't even think the best friend of Mike's knows that. I could be wrong, but I don't know what would prompt him other than just, I guess, looking at her. I don't know. But again, the scene doesn't matter because later on in the film, and we're kind of jumping ahead, but I just want to prove to you how stupid this is. In this section, like I told you, he said, Vanessa has like crazy eyes, so you got to watch out for her. Her car breaks down near the end of the film, and she needs a ride. He somehow, for some reason, and again, like I said, we'll go back to this, he somehow strolls up and stops to see her. Like, I don't know where the fuck he's driving, but of course, because the plot needs to keep going, he rolls up next to her, and he's like, hey, need a ride? And she's like, yes, take me to the mic now. Like, actually full-blown, like, crazy. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. Again, it's for the laughs. It's for not only the plot and because fucking whatever, but it's also because of the laughs, like the humor of it. But at that point in the movie, no one in my theater was laughing. It was just like, you literally just told Mike that like she's crazy. And then when she's like, I need to see Mike, where it seems like she's going to kill him. Like that was her energy. He's like, oh yeah, sure. So what the fuck is the point? There is no point. Mike finally goes on to his date, and he's talking to Abby before he goes on his date, I should say. And she's like, hey, I want to, see my friends, a.k.a. the ghosts of FNAF, right? Bonnie, Chica, Freddy, Foxy, them, the spirits. And he has this weird, like, excuse that, like, they're broken and he can't fix them. But she's sad, so, like, he's like, basically, no. Like, watch TV. And she turns on the TV, and it's like this weird... It doesn't even look well produced at all, which is really weird because it's only 3 people, and we'll get into that too, but it's only 3 people who make up this Ghost Hunter TV show. Like, it's on cable, and it's, like, very poorly done, and it looks stupid. It's called, fuck, what is it called? Like Spooky Scoopers or something, like ridiculous like that, which I don't even have a problem with. I'm just saying, think it back, that's just so stupid. But she makes a comment about like how because he was like, oh, do you know how to order pizza or whatever? And she's like, I'm 11. And it's so ironic that they have that written into the script that she's like, I'm not a baby, I'm 11. But you will see later on, which we will talk about, she falls for the fucking dumbest shit in this movie. Like, it is plainly obvious that there is bad shit going on, and she falls for it. They write her as a 5-year-old in this film. So I think it's very ironic where she goes, I'm 11. I was thinking too of that meme on Vine like years ago. If you remember what I'm talking about, hopefully I can find a clip.
I love how people are telling me I'm like 9 years old. I'm 11, so shut the fuck up.
Like, that's all I could think of when she said that. But it's stupid that she said that because, again, it just doesn't matter. Like, characters will say shit and it won't fucking matter because they will do the exact opposite of what they said. So I'm 11, so shut the fuck up. She didn't say shut the fuck up, but you know what I mean. She's like, I'm 11, I'm not a baby. And then she does the dumbest shit ever. That leads to even more problems in this film. With the friend. Oh, she got crazy eyes. Near the end of the film. Oh, let me pick her up. No problem. She ends up leaving for the FNAF 1 location, the movie, not the OG, which we get an introduction to, which takes place in the second game. And she notices they're not there, and she just kind of sulks and just sits there. And after that, we get a scene with Mike basically saying, oh yeah, I know I lied for you. I know I lied to you for like months about them being broken, but I don't know where they are genuinely. To me, why didn't you say that in the first place? Like, why was that such a problem for you to say? Like, hey, I don't know where they are genuinely. Because the truth is actually, in my opinion, better than, oh, they're broken and I can fix them. Like, she's gonna end up finding out because she's really fucking attached to these spirits. Why not just be like, I genuinely don't know where they are. Just be honest. And it didn't matter that he lied to her for so long because I thought that was going to be a major plot point because they were so serious about it because, you know, on their date, Vanessa's like, why don't you tell her the truth? Why don't you tell her the truth? And he's like, oh, I don't think she's ready yet. And then literally right after that, that whole sequence of like, we need to be honest with ourselves and each other, yada, yada, yada. The scene right after that is him going to the first location where he lied and said, oh, they're broken. He's like, I fucking lied, I guess. They're not broken. I just don't fucking know where they are. And the thing is, Abby didn't even really give a shit. He distracted her by like fucking picking up either candy or different prizes, which this is a nitpick, but I'm surprised that these locations are, one, so easily accessible to get into. Like, there is no problem at all. There's no security cameras. There's nothing. There's no security. There's no fucking boarded up anything. They could just walk in both locations in this movie. And two, since they're so easily available to, you know, get in and do whatever, why are there no homeless people that rob different things? Like I said, Mike distracts Abby with like different prizes like plushies, toys, candy. Why the fuck is that shit still there? Especially since this movie, everyone is obsessed with Fazbear Entertainment, Five Nights at Freddy's shit. They love it. So why is there shit still in both locations, like pretty much untouched? You know? That's a nitpick for sure, but it's just stupid to me because it's like it doesn't make sense to me, but whatever. So he distracts her and she ends up picking up this toy that's like what's a speak and spell, which is really cool. Another thing with potential, I really wish they would have used more of that in creepier ways. They used it like once and a half. And when I say half, they used it for like a cheap jump scare, but yeah, they didn't really utilize it. But she picks that up, which furthers the plot. That's like the first MacGuffin in this film, and if you don't know what that is, it's like a literal plot device. It's an item that moves the plot forward. So next up, if I remember correctly, we are set in the first location where Charlotte died to become Marionette, and the ghost hunters, I should say, show up, and genuinely, even though, which we will talk about, there were definitely stupid characters and flaws within this set of scenes with the ghost hunters, or yeah, the ghostbusters, whatever you want to call them. I genuinely enjoyed this sequence. So three people, might I add. This is on cable, apparently. They're trying to make us believe that this is on cable, but there's only a cameraman, the host, which is the main girl, and a sound guy. And that's it. They just roll up in a shitty fucking van, like a Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure 2 van, and they roll up, and they're like, oh, we're here, and this fucking creepy guy shows up, and he's like, oh, I'll let you in. And I don't know if it was just me, but if you watch the movie, let me know if you felt the same way. his name is Michael, and we'll talk about him definitely later on, but he always has like the Sigma meme face. I'm gonna put a picture up right now on what I'm talking about. Like, he's weirdly always doing this face, and he's always like, he's just fucking weird. Like, they made him a fucking weirdo, which makes it worse for the twist at the end, but they like made him so unlikable and weird, and I genuinely, sorry, no hate to him, I don't think he's a great actor. Like, I just got really weird vibes. I don't want to say exactly what kind of vibes, but if you can catch my drift, like, he's kind of a little bit worse than a weirdo, if you get what I mean. But yeah, he was just a weirdo making the Sigma face always for some reason. And they were led into the first location of where Charlotte died, like the first FNAF Faz location, the pizzeria, and it looked really amazing. As always, it looked fucking awesome. Abandoned too. It was really cool. Again, I raised the question, why the fuck wasn't it looted? Because he does also show them the new models, the toy models, and shows them like they haven't been touched, which is insane to me, that this place has been abandoned for I don't know how long, but all he had to do was open up a curtain, and these brand new fucking animatronics with a crazy amount of shine are untouched, which I don't understand. Maybe like because he's security there, but like he ain't doing shit, and I'll prove that at the end, near the end, when he shows up again near the end. Then we go into the horror tropes of this film that would normally bother me, and thinking back, they bother me, but during it, I was like, okay, we're in it. The main girl, I'm terrible with names. The main girl, who's the host of this Ghost Hunter show, hears with her headphones the music box playing, like in FNAF 2, so she's like, hey, let me check that out. And then for some reason, the fucking camera guy is following Michael, which, I mean, makes sense. But the sound guy just decides to leave too. So literally all three of them are split up. And they weren't getting any clues that this was fucking weird or haunted, especially with Michael Sigma face over there acting weird as fuck. Like, why would you split up? At the time, I didn't care because I was like, finally, we're getting in the shit, because it felt like we haven't seen anything happen in a while. So I'm like, let's go. So she follows it, and she sees this big fucking present with a little music box next to it. The music box broke, and the box opened, and you see the marionette, and it looked fucking creepy and gorgeous, and I was so happy. It was cool. So then we go to the guy who's the sound guy, and he's at the moat, and he stupidly fucking falls into the moat that's not even like 3 feet deep. I think it's like 2 feet. And instead of getting out immediately, because this place has been abandoned for some fucking time, it's literally like the meme of like still water. That's what that is. It's disgusting. He probably has like every single fucking disease in the world. He decides to fucking like just keep swimming in it because his flashlight doesn't work. When I watched it, it wasn't bad, but thinking back on it, it's like, how fucking stupid. The one thing I hate in movies are stupid characters, and that's why I didn't like Prey at all, and that's why I hated Halloween Kills. I hated both of those films because of stupid characters. And this wasn't as bad as those films, but Jesus Christ. It's literally like 2 to 3 feet of water. You just get up, but his flashlight didn't work, so he's getting all sorts of fucking AIDS and ringworm while he's trying to turn on his flashlight. And he turns it on, and he sees a bunch of these little marionettes that, like I said, were on the wall previously. And at the time, I was hype. You don't see a kill because, again, PG-13, it's for kids, whatever. But at the time when I was watching it, I was hyped because I was like, okay, I understand they're not going to show kills, but whatever. What they did was, you know, he shined the flashlight on them, and he dies off screen, and you see blood fill the shitty infested water. And I thought that was cool at the time. Little did I know that you will never see the little marionettes that killed him again in this film. And the reason why I thought it was so cool watching that part, during that part, was because I thought they would expand on it. I thought they would show them having razor sharp teeth or something. They're like kind of like piranhas or something. That's what my imagination goes to when he got killed. They never show them again, and it's just a lack of potential. And that's this whole movie. It lacks potential. But anyway, we move on to the camera guy before I go into the main plot of this movie with the girl ghost hunter. The camera guy ends up getting sucked up by Mangle. It's a jump scare, and that was cool. I actually like that a lot. That was my favorite kill. And I do like how, even though it's PG-13, you could see some gore in the distance. Like, you can hear the limbs slapping on the floor and shit like that. You can kind of see it. So I did appreciate that. Like, I get it, PG-13, but I'm glad they did that. I'm glad they did that, and I thought that was the best kill by far in the whole movie. And let me tell you, there's only, and I could be wrong, but I think I'm like 99.9% right. There's only 4 kills in this film, and we've already blown through 3 of them within, what, 15, 25 minutes? You see what I mean? You see what I mean? He dies, and of course, Michael is untouched, and he's doing his Sigma face, and he's like, hoo-hoo, what's going on? So then it cuts back to the girl ghost hunter who was with Marionette, and she gets possessed. Now, I feel like a lot of FNAF fans who didn't like this movie had a gripe with that. Miss Reaper was next to me. We watched together. She doesn't really know FNAF as much, so she was like, did that happen in the games? And I was like, absolutely not, no. However, I don't necessarily have a huge issue with this. I thought it was creative, and like I said, with the first movie, I am okay with new ideas. That is okay. If you implement new ideas and you do it correctly, I am all game for that. So when they showed her face when she was possessed, it was like the tears and the yellow eyes, and I thought that was genuinely cool. I thought that was genuinely cool. It kind of reminded me of Pennywise, and I thought it was cool. But just like everything else in this movie, they didn't utilize it correctly, and we will get into that a bit later. A lot of wasted potential, and honestly, actually, let's get into it now. The possession of Marionette happened about 3 times, and I think only one of them was actually decent and pretty good. What they should have done, in my opinion, for this movie is they should have made it Evil Dead. So instead of just making a boring ass film, because it's very, very fucking boring, make it so you're in the actual pizzeria where FNAF 2 the game takes place, and just go balls to the wall. Have like a crew of fucking 15 camera people doing a ghost hunter show. You don't even have to add Vanessa. You don't even have to add Mike or Abby. Fuck them. Add 15 like camera crew, sound crew, whatever, and they're like, hey, we're gonna shoot a movie because, you know, we heard FNAF is the craze. And then just do like an Evil Dead thing where people are possessed by the marionette, and then the animatronics are wreaking havoc and scare. Like, that would be a million times fucking better than what we got. But no, we got almost, I think it's like 45 minutes to an hour of useless stories, which we will get to, that has nothing to do with the pizzeria at all. We're only there, I would say, like 10% of the time. I am not even joking. We are watching a Five Nights at Freddy's movie where only 10% actually takes place where it should. Why not do full-on like Evil Dead type shit where people are getting possessed, or one person got possessed from their crew, and the rest are like slowly getting hit off one by one in the new pizzeria. Like, that would be fucking cool. That would be awesome. You would have me, and it would be great. And if you really needed Abby or Mike or Vanessa, have them at the end as like a, I don't know, like come in and save the day or some shit. You could probably work that in, but you know what I mean? Like something that doesn't have to be super fucking complex or boring, and I think that would work amazing. So next is a pretty good scene with Matthew Lillard. This scene is cool, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day. So the whole thing with Mike and Vanessa is they're kind of working through their demons. So with Mike, his demon is like trying to help Abby cope with the fact that you don't really have real friends, and your friends that you do have are spirits and dead. So he has to help her go through that, and especially the shit that happened prior. And Vanessa is working through her daddy issues. This movie is about, you know, trauma and trying to get through different things and just being open and honest with each other, even though she is far from that. Mike and her had a date talking about like how she's going to face her demons. So she turns on the TV and does this weird ritual shit with her old toys or whatever and falls asleep. And it is, to the movie's credit, a pretty cool sequence I enjoyed because I love Matthew Lillard. I don't think he's scary in the slightest. But I did have a good time with this part, especially when you see Baby, even though the lore is either super accurate with the games, and then it'll flip-flop to something like just completely different. Like, they'll have the kill with Marionette and Charlotte or whatever, and then it'll go from that to, oh, she can possess whoever the fuck she wants now, even animatronics. And it's like, so it does a lot of flip-flop with lore. So I don't know if they're trying to say that Vanessa is going to be Baby or something. I don't know, but it was cool seeing that reference of a Baby there. And I feel like that's a lot of why people love this movie, like FNAF fans that are probably like 15 or younger. I'm not trying to say that as a dunk, but every time I see on TikTok people saying like, this movie's peak, shut the hell up. They're like, they're very young. So anyway, it was a cool scene. She, you know, fought her demons with her dad. She shot him with a gun, and he was like, "Oh, I'm not done with you yet." I mean, there's parts in this film where another cool scene. She's like taking motorcycle classes to help with her anxiety, I guess, but she like gets traumatized by seeing her dad in the mirror or something. Matthew Lillard in the mirror, and it was kind of cool. It just didn't matter. Like this whole scene where she's like trying to get over her dad, and she's like, I think I did it, where she like shoots him, and he's like, oh, I'll be back. He didn't say that, but like it just didn't matter at the end of the day. They didn't expand on this. They didn't talk about it. So for me, it's like they just, as you'll see later on, they just have a checklist of shit that they have to do, and they just don't fucking expand on it. They're just like, oh, check, this is done. Okay, next scene, this will happen. We need a reference. Check. Okay, that's done. So, unfortunately, even though it was a pretty cool scene with Matthew Lillard, it didn't really matter. It didn't do anything because it was all shit we knew. She's traumatized by her dad, and she still is after. So, what did this scene accomplish other than it looking kind of cool and to flash Baby on the screen? And now we get to the main crux of the movie and the main reason why I just don't like this movie. And this is the part I tuned out, where we get into talking about Abby's useless and fucking stupid science fair project. So near the beginning of the film, before she goes to the first location, we see different scenes with her at school, and she has this absolute dickhead of a teacher for no reason, might I add. Like, he's just a fucking asshole. He's her science teacher, and of fucking course their science class is about making animatronics. I shit you not. The class that she's in, that the only class you see her in, is about making animatronic shit. And apparently everyone is so much better than her, and her teacher is such a fucking dick that he's like, hey bitch, you suck. Fuck off. Like, he might as well said that. Like, that's how he acted, and for no reason at all. There's no reason for him to be that much of a dickhead to her, but he is. And again, writing off a checklist, the reason why he's a dickhead is because of plot, because we know he's going to die, and he is the last kill of this movie. I don't know how long this movie is, like 1.5, 2 hours, 4 kills, and they're all off screen. But his was objectively, in my opinion, the worst, so I guess I would be subjectively. But anyway, he's just a fucking dickhead to her, saying like, hey, you don't know how to make robots, because she's just trying to make basically the animatronics, a smaller version of them, but, you know, she's failing, and he's just like, hey, fuck you, little dickhead. Like, for no reason at all. Again, he's like, I don't know why adults are always such fucking assholes in this movie, but that's just how it is. But this takes place for majority of the film. Like, we spend more time learning about Abby's science fair project and how much of a dick her teacher is for the rest of the movie. Like, we don't really talk about the pizzeria, like, at all. That's why I lost all interest, because this movie is the most boring horror movie I've ever seen in my life, and it's such a pain because you could do so much with this franchise. It just pains me that this is the route we go. I overlooked it in the first FNAF movie because I still enjoyed the first FNAF movie. I overlooked the bullshit where Abby and the FNAF gang were making like a table and chair fort with like music in the background. I thought that was cringe. It was corny to me, but I let it slide because the rest was decent. It was a good adaptation, and to me, that movie was for the fans. This movie, however, was not for the fans. It definitely wasn't, in my opinions. Other than the references, which were cool, I did like how in one part of the movie where Mike is trying to distract Abby from being sad with, you know, the different plushies and stuff like that, he clicks in and goes, heart, 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 heart. Like the meme, which was cool, and they even added Living Tombstone at the very end, but that does not carry a movie. This is literally just slop to me. And again, this is all my opinion, but could you just imagine for a second if you took, let's say, 5 animators who made FNAF VHS YouTube shorts. Like, one that comes to mind and is my absolute favorite is Paddington, I think his name is. He makes insane shit. Could you imagine taking 5 of those people who made those shorts, put them in a writer's room, and then have them come up with a FNAF horror movie? That shit would be insane. And it doesn't even have to be R-rated. I personally think that it should, but it doesn't even have to be a great film. I know they could make tension and scares so much better than what we got, because this film, when it comes to scares, in my opinion, it was lacking for the most part, because again, most of the film was talking about Mike and Vanessa's trauma and how they're getting through it, or it was talking about Abby's science teacher being a dick because she's not good enough in his eyes to make animatronics. It's honestly just a shame to me how hard they fumbled the bag with this movie. There is so goddamn much you can do. And I feel like a lot of people who are defending this film, I always see, what did you expect? Someone to sit in an office for an hour? I would rather fucking see that than go see Abby and Chica win a fucking prize for the best science fair project. I'm getting way too ahead of myself. Like, I'm crashing the fuck out. Like, this is so stupid. You lost me at this shit because this shit was already so boring. And just adding the I'm friends with animatronics bullshit is just so fucking stupid. But we're getting ahead of ourselves, so I'm just gonna keep going. So next we see Vanessa go to the FNAF 2 location because she finds out Abby is going there. And again, like I said earlier, characters talk past each other. Vanessa gets into a fight with Mike because she's trying to tell him, hey, your little sister is going to this location and there's fucking robots and shit talking to her. Again, that shit ain't good. And he's going, la 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 la, I can't hear you, I can't hear you, I don't care. He essentially does that where he tells her to piss off. And he says the wrong thing where, like, I'm just trying to fix her and I'm trying to fix you. And she goes, what the fuck did you say? And they just leave it at that. So she's like, oh, well, just make sure you keep an eye out on your little sister. Okay. And that's where it ends. So she goes to the FNAF 2 location and it's found out that she was Charlotte's best friend. And Charlotte is basically pissed off at all the adults that wronged her, that had that NPC dialogue, and she wants to kill them. So she holds Vanessa hostage and tricks Abby. Again, Abby is written like a 5-year-old, successfully tricked Abby to go back to the FNAF 2 location and to basically type in a code for them to leave, like ghost Wi-Fi. I saw a Angry Joe review on this movie, and that's what they were calling it. And it's just so true. It's like this weird ghost Wi-Fi that we'll talk about later in the film, but it's just insane to me that Abby does not see the warning signs of something is kind of fucky, because not only does Chica like give off weird vibes when it comes to talking to Abby about their intentions, like it's very vague and whatnot. Not only that, but there's this scene in the movie where the possessed ghost hunter girl is holding Vanessa hostage, and they're looking through a camera, and Chica is basically like petting Abby, and Abby's staring right at Chica, by the way, and Chica's looking at the camera with fucking red angry eyes, and Abby's just still like, oh, let me type in the code, oh, no problems here. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Like, they made Abby into a 5-year-old. And again, it's so ironic that she's like, I'm grown now, I'm 11, but they treat her like she's dumb. Even a fucking 11-year-old, even a 5-year-old wouldn't fall for this dumb shit. They would be terrified. Like, isn't that the whole crux of the game? Because people are weirded out by animatronics? No, apparently fucking everyone and their mother loves animatronics now. Everyone. No one's fucking scared of them. And that just kind of wraps up the film, right? That explains everything, in my opinion. No one is scared of the animatronics. That's the movie. No one's scared of the animatronics. Not the people in the film and not people out of the film. It's just not a good movie and not a good horror movie, and it's not a good comedy, because they'll add shit that's just they perceive as funny, but it just doesn't land. None of my theater at a certain point, once they knew this movie was so fucking mid, they weren't laughing. None of my theater was laughing. There's this part where when she's, you know, typing in the code and Mike finds out where she is, he calls like one of the administrators for her school, and the administrator's like, oh, she's not here. And he's like obviously in a panic because he's like, I gotta find Abby. He hangs up and she goes, what an asshole. And no one laughed. Literally no one laughed. It was so bad. So we move on with Abby, you know, not seeing any warning signs, typing in the code to make sure all the animatronics escape, and, you know, not thinking twice about it. Mike is like, where the fuck is Abby? So he talks to, again, it's just moving the plot forward. He finds earlier in the film, I'm kind of scatterbrained, so I'm sorry. He finds earlier in the film, like a poster that says like, Fazbear is murder or something like that. And of course, it's like one out of like the 100 of flyers saying, Fazbear Fest is happening now. And he finds one like somewhat hidden. Again, another fucking MacGuffin, another plot device. He uses that and calls a number, and what do you know? It's the dad of Charlotte, the person who's marionette. So he goes over to him, and I didn't realize that. I forget his name. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, he is also the other killer in Scream, the original Scream, with Matthew Lillard. I didn't even recognize him, and again, I feel like this movie really preys upon, like, oh, you know this character? You know this reference? That's what makes it a good movie, right? Buy our merch. I didn't think he was anything amazing, but it was just like another boring scene of just him just yapping about like, oh, I'm the dad of the kid who died, and you know, that's pretty fucked up. You know, why are we glorifying this? And then, you know, he looks at the different newspapers, Mike does, and he's like, oh shit, that's a Mo. Oh shit, maybe Vanessa was telling the truth. I'm gonna go to the Fazbear location right now. And for I think this is the third MacGuffin, the third plot device, which is the worst in my opinion. The dad goes up and he's like, hey, just to let you know, I have this music box here. Make sure to wind it up and play the music continuously, because this is what puts her to sleep. I'm mentioning it to you now, audience. This will help the situation. So he gives it to him, and off Mike goes to the FNAF 2 location. That's what I'm calling it. The first Fazbear area, pizzeria. Then Abby wins the science fair because her and Chica go back and they win the science fair, and her teacher is more of a dick. He destroys her first like Chica model that she built, so she's like, hey, fuck it, hey Chica, like the real Chica, you want to come with me and win the science fair, which is cheating because she didn't make shit. So they go to the science, they go back to the school, the science fair, And as Mike is going to the first, pizzeria location, and they end up winning, and there's this image. Hopefully I can get a screen grab, but I was telling Miss Reaper, I leaned over and I was like, if you would have told me that this is FNAF the movie back in like 2014, 2015, I would have thought you're fucking joking, because it's literally Abby with a trophy with Toy Chica fucking next to her. Like, it is the most absurd shit that you wouldn't even think would be possible, but like, people just let it slide because, hey, I know that character. It's FNAF. They did the and it's all good. I sounded like an otter, but it's all fucking good. This movie's great. 10 out of 10. Fuck it. So as we move on, I think I'm out of order, but I have this in my notes as clear as I can remember it, because, like I said, around the really useless and boring Abby and science fair friendship is magic bullshit, I just kind of clocked out. But there's scenes where Toy Freddy is walking around. They're all walking around because they're free. Toy Freddy walks into Faz Fair because they're having a Faz Fair. I was never into horror movies that did this, where like there's a few movies before the new one, and the few movies like established that there's this like killer on the loose and he's like fucking awful and deplorable. And then like this new movie, they like glorify him and the whole town or the whole city glorify. I was never a fan of that trope, but if you like it, that's fair. But he's walking around, like Toy Freddy is just literally just walking around, which is goofy in itself. But he's walking around and people next to him are like, hey, that's a pretty sweet costume. And that's as far as it goes. That scene was never expanded upon. All that happens is Toy Freddy is walking on like a fucking boardwalk or whatever with a ton of people, and he gets surrounded a little bit with people walking next to him. They're like, hey, that's a pretty cool costume. They talk about his costume for like goddamn 5 minutes, and all he says back is, I'm going to kill bad people. BRB. And I'm like, oh, cool. That's it. That scene. Why? What the fuck? Again, wasted potential. What they could have done is for this Faz, if they really needed a Faz Fest, they could have had him walking beside him. They were talking shit like, oh, that's a cool costume. And he fucking like takes their arm and breaks it. And then he starts going on a massacre. And then fucking like the cops show up and they're like shooting him, but it's not really doing anything because like, I don't know, like his exoskeleton's super strong. They could have done so much. And in my opinion, I really wish it wasn't like this Faz Fest thing, because first of all, it didn't even matter, because that was pretty much the only scene where they show Faz Fest, is just to have that quirky humor. Wow, that's a weird costume. You look great. The other friend's like, no, you don't. Oh yeah, he does. That's it. That's all it boils down to. So it didn't matter. So I feel like they shouldn't have done a Faz Fest, but if they really want the Five Nights at Freddy's, like the toy characters to be roaming around, I don't think that's a terrible idea, but I feel like what they should have done is they should have set them in, instead of like a suburban area where it looks like, like upper middle class people live, where there's like basically no trees or whatever, and it's like perfectly cut grass with these beautiful homes. They should be in like a woodsy area, a very woodsy and dark area, to add to that fear. Again, that has nothing to do with it being potentially R-rated. They could add a lot more scariness to the fact that it's this dark woodsy area. I mean, if you look at the movie and you see Mike's house and you see Vanessa's house, they look like shit. That would be perfect. They just film in the fucking woods. It doesn't have to be with a crowd of people. And if it is a crowd of people, fucking do something. It's like, no, I'm gonna kill this family that I'm not gonna kill at the end of the film. I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, but Jesus Christ, nothing happens in this film. Nothing. There's so much potential wasted. Nothing happens. Also, while this is happening, Bonnie walks around and basically crashes into houses. Same with Toy Freddy later on, where they go into suburban neighborhoods and go to the bad parents' house, and they act like Michael Myers for some fucking reason. I don't know why. Again, nothing happens because of it. And it's not even scary because it's just a fucking 7-foot shiny robot walking around. It's not even necessarily creepy. Like, as an audience member, it's not scary at all. Like, as a FNAF fan and as a casual, it's not scary. So they're moving like Michael Myers, though. Like, they're sneaking in the house, which I don't know how, because earlier in the movie, their stomps are loud as fuck. But in this, like, 2 functioning brained adults don't hear the stomping around. I don't know if they have the silent mode or whatever the fuck. But yeah, they're moving like Michael Myers. Like, one literally, like, picks up, I think it's a knife or a screwdriver, and is, like, acting like Michael Myers. Shit is fucking... Oh, my God, I don't get it! So after that, Mike ends up finding Vanessa at the location, the FNAF 2 location, and he pretty much, I think he frees her or some shit. Again, I clocked out. But she's free from the clutches of Charlotte, or the fucking possessed ghost hunter lady. I mean, she's like dead at this point. They even show it. She's free, and they're like, hey, basically they're roaming around. Michael, can you go into the original FNAF 2 office, which looked phenomenal? Can you go in there and basically shut off the ghost Wi-Fi so they stop moving because they're about to kill people? I'll go out and try to find Abby, so fucking let's do this. And he's like, all right, let's do this. So she's driving to a location, and he's stuck in the office. And I will say, this is pretty much, other than the ghost hunter scene, this is the only set of scenes with Mike I like a lot. They should have not made this the whole movie, but this should have been the focus. It's FNAF 2 as FNAF 2. It was fucking great. The office looked great. You could see on both sides the fucking light buttons. He made references which were actually kind of funny and landed because it's true. He mentioned the fact that the office didn't have a door, which was the main criticism people had for FNAF 2 because there was no doors. The landscape has completely changed within the game, so it was kind of quirky and it kind of worked. It was great. And then the Withers came out, which for some reason, you'll see later on, the Withers are not the actual OGs in this movie. They're completely separate things, which is fucking weird, but whatever. I can buy that because I had a good time with this scene. I can buy that. Again, if you have new ideas and they actually work, I don't give a fuck. That's fine. And they looked so goddamn good. And Mike even had the mask to put up in front of them, so just it confuses everyone except for Foxy. It was super lore accurate. Also, another thing I wanted to mention is the fact that they spent all this time wasted talking about Vanessa's trauma that doesn't get really expanded upon, or how Mike needs to be a better brother and basically, help Abby cope with her ghost friends. And they spent a lot of time with this fucking asshole teacher and Abby's useless fucking science fair project. They spent a lot of time expanding on those things for no reason, but they didn't expand on the fact that Mike is using a mask to hold in front of him that confuses the animatronics. Because as a fan, I love that shit. It was awesome. But as a casual, you see that shit, and I've seen reviewers talk about this. I've watched tons of reviews where they were fucking confused and they thought that shit was stupid. That is the problem. Why not expand on that? You could have expanded on the fact that, hey, this is why they get confused. It fucks up their circuits, X, Y, and Z, like they did in the game. It wouldn't even take that much time to explain that. But no, we're just going to add that in. And while I thought that was fucking awesome and it was true to the games, which I appreciated, they didn't expand on it, and fucking other people, like casual people who wanted to see this as just a horror movie, they were confused and they thought that shit was dumb. So as Mike is fucking around in the offices, which are the best parts of the movie, Vanessa is driving around and Mangold is fucking with her car, which I thought was a pretty cool scene. I saw that in the commercials and I knew it was a little off seeing the Five Nights at Freddy's characters just roaming around in general, but I didn't think anything of it because I was glazing the movie before it even came out. But genuinely, this wasn't that bad of a scene either. The jump scares were definitely predictable, like 99% of these jump scares in this movie, but it was a cool scene. I do love Mangold. The only criticism I have too, other than the jump scares being predictable, is why the fuck could you not afford, or why didn't you use the sound effects for animatronics, for specific animatronics, like the broken police scanner for Mangold? maybe I'm deaf, but I didn't hear that shit at all. And then when it goes back into the best sections of the movie with Mike warding off the animatronics, they sound like fucking lines, especially Foxy, which confused the fuck out of me. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but I don't get it. You have such a big fucking budget. If I remember correctly, from the first movie, they got $300 million from the first movie. I don't understand why you can't afford or use specific sounds. Mangold fucks up the car, and it leads to Vanessa being broken down. And as I said earlier, Mike's friend that you only saw once picks her up with no questions asked. I also forgot to mention the fact that, which is pretty fucking forgettable, the big asshole teacher finally gets his comeuppance and he dies to Toy Chica. And speaking of this movie trying to be funny, she kills him by basically squeezing his head like a grape. Because before that, Abby is talking to Toy Chica, and Toy Chica's like, hey, I just wanted to see what's going on in his head. Abby still doesn't see any fucking sides of weirdness because there's even a weird timbre in her voice, but she's like, oh, okay, you go do that. Toy Chica says the line again to him because he's like, I'll give you an A, I'll do whatever you want, blah, 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 I won't be a dickhead anymore. And she says, I want to see what's going inside your head. Squeezes it all fucking camera. Whatever. And she says after that, which no one laughed at, see, I knew there was nothing in there. Like, the only like laugh I heard was like the person 2 seats like away from me, and they only laughed because it was like, huh? It was like a huh laugh. Like, yeah, so this movie tries to be funny and it also tries to be horror, but it does nothing of the sorts at all, in my opinion. It's not a horror movie because it's not scary, and it's not a comedy because it's not funny. So it's just in limbo, and it's just not good. So we're coming up to the end of the movie, and we're back on the topic of Toy Bonnie and Toy Freddy acting like Michael Myers. And one of them, I think it's Toy Bonnie, literally goes into a little girl's room, and the little girl is not phased at all, which I don't fucking understand because it's like 10 p.m., 10 p.m., you're supposed to be in bed, and there's this fucking 7-8 foot tall animatronic with red eyes. They're about to kill the naughty parents, but of course they can't because they're disabled, and fucking I think it's Mangold gets thrown off the car or whatever. I'm like so scatterbrained because this happens, I think, before she breaks down her car, but Mangold literally breaks through the window and like body slams Toy Freddy, I believe it is. And they have this, again, useless scene where they try to do this callback, but in every review I've seen where the person is not into FNAF, you don't even have to be into FNAF to get this, but they showed the guy who was a lawyer in the first film, and that's all he was there for in the first film. I promise you, I was the only one who recognized this while watching. No one else seemed to know. Like, no one got an audible reaction for him. Obviously, people had an audible reaction for Corey Kenshin because he's the GOAT, but not for this lawyer guy. And even reviewers didn't even know who the fuck he was. They're like, is he from the games? No! They tried to make this like Avengers level, which you'll see later, this Avengers level thing where he shows up and everyone's supposed to go, oh! But he wasn't that great of a character in the first one. Like, he was kind of funny, sure, but yeah, he's like, oh, I think you need a lawyer, like a Marvel quip, but it doesn't land because no one gives a shit about this guy. Like, he wasn't bad in the first one, but that's it. That's the only thing he's been in, so no one really gives a shit. Yada yada yada. They fucking disable the bad animatronics until they fucking don't, because they rerouted it for some reason. So basically all that Mike did in the office was useless. Again, they just do shit because they have a checklist. They fucking rerouted it, even though he spent the whole entire time trying to like fucking hack into the mainframe. Again, best part of the film, I will say, but it didn't mean shit. So they all end up at Mike's house, and it turns into a fucking Avengers level extravaganza. I don't know what else to call it. It's just the old characters from the first movie, the OG characters, fight with the fucking toy characters. The Withered, I don't even know what happened to them. I think they just got disabled. I don't even fucking remember what happened to them. They just kind of got thrown to the side. But they get into a fight, which is literally the old ones just fucking breaking the heads off the other ones and just throwing them. And they even did for Bonnie, hopefully I can find it. I might not even play it just because of copyright sake, but they do an Avengers level shot where Bonnie like rips the head off of Mangled, I think it is, and throws Mangled's head, and the camera swoops up and shows Bonnie turn around like and like of course that will get like people like, oh my god. I fucking had the biggest eye roll because I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? We go from these kids in these suits are missing and they're not allowed, because they explain that at the very end of the film, like the very, very end, that they're not allowed to leave. They did leave for like 5 minutes to save the day, and then they officially die. So that's what happens. They save the day. Abby's like, hey, yeah, you're alive. And then they glitch out, and then they start dying again, officially dying. And Abby's crying. At this point, I don't give a fucking shit. And then Freddy, the ghost of Freddy, the kid, comes out, and he should have just said it. Hey, Vanny's dad is still alive, so get ready for that. I'm pretty sure he did say get ready for that or some shit along those lines, but he was like, hey, FNAF 3 is coming out in 2 years, so get ready for that. This is what's going to happen, Mike. It's basically, hey, she's not super honest with you. And then fucking Michael, the weird Sigma face guy, shows up out of nowhere, and he's like, hey, I'm actually Michael Afton. He is the most Disney villain of Disney villains I've ever seen. And it's just so cringe. And he was like, I'm actually bad. And he tries to escape, and he gets clotheslined from Mike's friend, who's apparently just still there, just hanging out. He goes, where you going, motherfucker? And that was the end of that, because Michael ends up escaping at the very end as like one of the 3 cliffhangers. There was no point in him getting clotheslined. So I don't know. I've just been yapping. It might be a weird cut, but what they also do is they play the music box that was given, that literal plot device. They wind up the music box for Charlotte, and you know, oh, all is good. But they fucking stop playing the music box, which means that Charlotte is still roaming around as a spirit and she can possess anyone. So why isn't Vanessa saying, hey, you need to continuously play that shit? But no, she doesn't say that. So at the very end of the film, before she gets possessed, she gets possessed, okay? She fucking gets possessed. At the very end of the film, it's so stupid, because it's like, why didn't you tell Mike to just keep on cranking that shit until they got to a safe space? Why did you stop doing that? She could have just told him that, because she was the one, she's the best friend that kept my brain is scrambled, whatever, the marionette asleep that whole time. So you would have thought that she had the common decency to be like, Mike, keep on doing that, because if you stop, she'll wake up. But fucking no, you know, whatever. We need a 3rd movie. Chop chop. Time is money. What really put me off was Michael just like having bipolar disorder. Again, I will say this for the 3rd time, I think I'm saying this. Every character talks past each other. So they'll be like back and forth from, oh, we're cool, to fuck you, you suck, fuck you. Like, that's what literally happened after all the bullshit where even Vanessa helps save Abby. She literally helps save Abby. He's like, fuck you, bitch, I'm gone, fuck you, leave me alone. Like, I understand that he's upset because she wasn't honest with him about having a brother and this and that. It would just happen so fast. Like, you could tell they rushed this shit, where it was like, oh, fuck you, I'm leaving, fuck you, I'm leaving, fuck you. So, yeah, that's the end of the film. He says, fuck you, I'm leaving, and he's out. The friend never shows up. He obviously didn't do a good job of stopping Michael, because Michael Afton, the bad Michael, is gone. He left his badge, so that was like a cliffhanger. And the second cliffhanger is Vanessa being possessed. And the 3rd one is the end credits. Remember the dad of Marionette? Remember him? And, you know, he was talking, I think, Billy Loomis. He was talking to Mike Schmidt about like, oh, here's the box. he's like, oh yeah, by the way, Mike, I hope this message finds you well. Yeah, I actually worked with Michael Afton. I just forgot to tell you that. But I'm telling you that now. Oh, there's a ghost here. All right, bye. Yeah, I skipped a few things, like the fact that Abby got infected by Marionette, which was cool, which was really cool. Like, the jump scare was really fucking cool, in my opinion, because there was this jump scare of Chica where her chest bursts open and you see the puppet jump scare Abby. Really cool shit, but again, they didn't fully capitalize on that, and it didn't last long, so it didn't even matter. So another thing where the potential wasn't there, they don't go back to the moat with the little marionette toys or whatever they were, statues where they're like piranhas. They didn't go back and expand on that. It was just it was a pain in the fucking ass to get through, and I'm just so disappointed that right now I'm gonna edit it a little bit because I took different breaks to drink water and whatnot, but I've been ranting for an hour and 16 minutes. As you could probably tell, it's gotten really fucking dark. And that's because I'm so passionate about this franchise. And this shit honestly bothered me to my core. So honestly, that's what I think fully about this FNAF 2 movie. I am so disappointed. They had so much to run with, especially with a franchise as rich as FNAF. But they lost so much potential because they wanted to focus on friendship is everything, Abby and her science project. Like, the demographic of the people watching this, the thing that pissed me off the most is the demographic of the people watching this film are in their like mid to late 20s, because that is who grew up with the games. And there's no problem with it being PG-13, but it just doesn't make sense to me that you're just copping out on the 4 fucking kills that are in your horror movie and make it for kids when your whole audience base, everyone in my theater was my age or older. I am not kidding you. So it doesn't make sense to me, and they just could have done so much more, but they didn't. And the last thing I'll say and talk about is, am I excited for FNAF 3? I do have hopes still. Maybe not high hopes, but I do have hopes that it could be good, because FNAF 3 is, in my opinion, the only game, I think, in the FNAF series that has more of a clear story, if that makes sense. Because FNAF 1 and 2 before that is, hey, figure this shit out yourself. But with FNAF 3, the premise is there's more to it, but the premise is literally like, hey, a lot of fucked up shit and murders happened at the 2 other locations, so we impounded them. But since people love the Faz entertainment shit, we decided to make a haunted house to kind of capitalize on that and get money. So what we also did was scavenge some authentic shit from those locations, and oh shit, there's actually a fucking killer dead guy, half dead guy on the loose. We fucked up. Boom! Simple, easy. And I really fucking hope and pray that they just make it simple, because it doesn't need to be complicated. And I think what they should do with Vanessa is, since she's possessed, make her Vanny. That would be cool. That would be a cool take on how Vanny becomes Vanny. But honestly, my hopes are dwindling more and more because of this film. I'm gonna stop yapping. There's probably a lot of shit I wanted to talk about that I just forgot about. But I think I got the point across that I don't really like this movie. But if you truly did, that is fine. And I'm not saying you're a bad person or you're stupid for liking this film. I'm just saying I was, more than anything, disappointed because of all the lost potential and just the bad writing. It just wasn't good in the slightest. So if you made it through this whole video, type exotic butters just so I know that you made it through this whole video. It means a lot. I know there's going to be a lot of different opinions, so make sure to tell me what you thought, if you liked it or not, in the comments down below. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'm losing my voice from just fucking yelling about this film, so I'm going to go. I'll see you soon with a Dead by Daylight video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one, and hopefully you guys can see where I'm coming from with my opinions. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Peace out.